Ever wonder how ancient dynasties got their start? Like, where do they come from?
Yeah, it's super interesting, right? Like today we're going to do a deep dive into one of those stories.
Yeah, it's a myth that's super important to ancient China. The origin story of the Shang dynasty. Talk about an origin story.
Exactly. It gives us so much insight into how they saw the world, their beliefs, their values.
Their identity, like you were saying earlier.
Exactly. This myth, it lays the foundation for their entire civilization. It's not just a fun story.
No, it's like looking through a window right into their worldview.
Yeah, and the text we're looking at recounts the birth of their very first ruler.
Okay, so give us the rundown. Who are the stars of this show?
Well, first we've got Jian Dao, a young noblewoman.
So she's like royalty.
Pretty much. And she has this crazy encounter with a mysterious blackbird.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah, the swan bird. It wasn't just some random bird, though.
So what made it so special?
Well, it was seen as this powerful omen, like a sign from the gods.
So like a divine messenger dropping in for a visit.
Exactly. It was a huge deal, the divine intersecting with the human world.
Okay, I'm hooked. What happens next?
So get this. The swan bird drops this colorful egg.
Okay, so not your average bird, not your average egg.
Definitely not. And Jiandi, she swallows it.
Hold on, she swallows the egg? What?
I know, right? It's not your typical snack.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Is this like some ancient Chinese cooking show?
Not quite. But this is where it gets really interesting. This is a classic divine birth story, something you see across cultures all over the world.
Right, right. Like those stories kind of pop up everywhere.
Yeah. It's basically saying the child born from this miracle, he's destined for greatness, like chosen by the gods themselves.
So he's like set up to be a legend from day one.
Totally. But there's more to it than just a miraculous birth. It's how the Shang dynasty legitimized their rule, you know?
I see. Like, hey, we're not just some random rulers. We're chosen by the divine.
Exactly. It's like having the ultimate seal of approval.
The ultimate birth certificate.
Haha, exactly. Okay, so she grows up.
Does he live up to all this hype?
Oh, yeah. He becomes this awesome leader, helps the legendary Emperor Yu tame those crazy floods that were ravaging the land.
Oh, wow. So he's dealing with some major crises right off the bat.
Yeah, like trial by fire. And this detail is huge. It links the Shang dynasty's origin story to a time of crazy upheaval, total chaos.
Yeah, like they're rising from the ashes, creating order from disaster.
Exactly. They're not just born into power, they earn it.
Okay, so what about that mysterious black bird? Does it just fly off into the sunset?
Nope. It sticks around in a manner of speaking and becomes like this powerful emblem for the Shang people.
I see. So it's not just about the birth of a dynasty. It's about their identity, their beliefs.
Precisely. The shuang bird represents their divine connection, and it legitimizes their rule. We see it everywhere on artifacts, in their rituals.
It's woven right into the fabric of their culture,
Yeah.
like their national bird or something.
Exactly. But with an extra dose of divine power and connection.
Yeah, I'm picking up on this theme of divine connection. Was that just like a Shang dynasty thing?
Well, it speaks to a much larger philosophy in ancient Chinese thought, this idea of harmony between heaven and man.
I've heard of that. It's like this cosmic balance.
Yeah. Heaven represents divine order, and man strives to live in tune with that order. Everything's connected,
Yeah, and that swan bird, it adds like a bridge between the earthly and the divine, like a symbol of that connection.
Exactly. For the Shang people, it reinforces their destiny, their right to rule.
So this myth isn't just some cool bedtime story. It's packed with info about how they saw themselves and their place in the universe.
Right. It's a blueprint for their entire civilization. So we've got this miracle birth, a leader born for greatness, and a symbol that ties it all back to this idea of harmony between heaven and man.
Wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. We covered a lot today.
We did. And I think it all leads to a pretty big question. How do these origin myths, like the one we just talked about, shape a civilization's identity, even today?
Wow, yeah. It's like looking into a mirror, but the mirror is reflecting thousands of years of history and beliefs.
And it makes you think, how do our own origin stories, the ones we tell ourselves today, shape who we are and what we believe in?
That's a great question to think about. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.